Chicago reversed its own river in 1900. It built tunnels under itself for 50 years. It sits on 20% of the world's fresh water. The question was never survival. The question was always who manages and who pays. The Great Lakes hold 21% of the world's surface fresh water. Chicago sits on the edge of that system. It has been fighting that water for 200 years. In 1833, Chicago was a swamp with 350 residents. By 1860, engineers were lifting entire city blocks on jack screws to get above the water table. The swamp is still there, under everything. In January 1900, Chicago reversed the flow of its own river, away from the lake, toward the Mississippi. It was the largest earth-moving project in North America at that time. The engineers went on to build the Panama Canal. Below Chicago, 109 miles of tunnels, 350 feet underground. Since 1981, 1 trillion gallons captured. If TARP is full and rain continues, the sewage goes straight to the waterways. On a summer afternoon, the lakefront and inland neighborhoods differ by 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Same city, same day. The lake cools one half, asphalt cooks the other. July 1995, 5 days. Heat index, 119 degrees Fahrenheit. 739 people dead. Most were elderly, black, and poor. The city ran out of morgue space. Chicago is one of the 5 most segregated large cities in the United States. North, white, wealthy, near the lake. South and west, black, Latino, inland, exposed. 1990, 7 extreme heat days per year. 2050, 38, the same city. A different pressure system arriving on schedule. Lake Michigan set a record high in 2020. Beaches disappeared. Roads flooded. The lake level can swing 6 feet in a decade. The infrastructure cannot. TARP works until it is full. When the tunnel reaches capacity and rain continues, sewage overflows directly into the river. It still happens. Every year, 2029, McCook Reservoir, Stage 2, complete. 17.5 billion gallons of capacity, the largest system of its kind on Earth, designed for the storms of 1972. Insurers begin exiting Southside zip codes. The areas they flag match the redlining maps of 1940. Almost exactly, the 20-degree inland heat gap is no longer a weather curiosity. It is a mortality variable. The same people as in 1995. Between 2000 and 2020, Chicago lost 25% of its black population. The outmigration continues. Southside blocks thin further every year. Green infrastructure pilots launch across the city. Each one captures thousands of gallons. The storms deliver billions. Chicago's pension debt, $35.9 billion, funded at 24%. Every dollar toward pensions is a dollar away from the pipes, the tunnels, the flood walls. 2035, accelerated pipe replacement begins on the south side. Chicago has 409,000 lead service lines, more than any other city in America. 2038, Chicago's third consecutive summer, over 30 extreme heat days. The pattern is no longer a projection. It is the baseline. A district cooling pilot launches downtown, pumping cold lake water through underground pipes. Capacity, 12 city blocks. The loop stays comfortable. As the south side thins, Northside density increases. Proximity to the lake is now a class variable fully priced in. The storms of the 2040s exceed TARP's design parameters regularly. In July 2023, the system released 1.1 billion gallons directly into Lake Michigan. Voluntary buyouts begin on the most flood-prone Southside blocks. Residents receive market value. The market value is low because the insurance already left. Chicago's former steel and meatpacking corridors begin converting solar, logistics, stormwater retention. 100 years of industrial identity decommissioned. The Chicago River reversed in 1900. Cleaned in the 1990s, becomes the city's primary climate corridor. Cooling zones, retention, trail infrastructure, Phoenix, Houston, Dallas. As those cities hit functional limits, the first climate migrants arrive in Chicago. The Southside absorbs them. FEMA redraws Chicago's flood maps. Every revision adds more of the south and west sides to the high-risk zone. The maps last updated 2008. By 2048, standard homeowner insurance is unavailable in 31 south and west side zip codes. The city creates a public insurer of last resort. It is underfunded. 2049. 38 extreme heat days, confirmed as the annual baseline. The 1995 heat wave would now be an average summer. Climate risk maps, flood zone designations, insurance exclusion zones. 63% of distressed properties on the 1940 redlining geography. The line persists. Chicago officially records 3.6 heat deaths per year. New York City records 525. Chicago stopped counting after 2013. Southside population keeps falling. Englewood, 40,000 residents in 2000. By 2051, the grid remains. The people have left. The lake cooling network expands on the north side. 115 loop buildings, invisible, reliable. South side connections this year, 0. Engineers propose TARP Phase 3 new tunnels under the South Side. Estimated cost $9 billion. First discussed in 2033. Still unbuilt. Chicago's L lines become the skeleton of the compressed city. Development concentrates within 800 meters of every station. The rest, managed vacancy. City policy formalizes managed vacancy. Zones where services are withdrawn, land cleared, stormwater retention built. Most zones, south and west sides. 2058. Chicago's population reaches 3.4 million, highest since 1980. Climate migrants from the Sun Belt, 18% of new arrivals. The city was not designed for this. North side neighborhoods near the lake hit density limits. Infrastructure built for 50,000 now serving 90,000. Water pressure, schools, transit, all at maximum. Former residential blocks on the south side convert to urban agriculture city contracts, stormwater credits, a different form of productivity for the same land. Chicago signed a 100-year deal selling Lake Michigan water to Joliet, outside the basin. Wisconsin and Michigan call it a warning for the entire Great Lakes Compact. Heat mortality, no longer tracked as disaster, tracked as chronic. Roughly 400 additional deaths per year, concentrated in inland zip codes. Officially, cardiac events. 2061. TARP. Phase 3 breaks ground on the Southside. The first new tunnel in 30 years. Scheduled completion, 2078. The flooding does not wait. Chicago formally decommissioned services in 14 neighborhood zones, consolidating into a smaller, denser footprint. The city shrinks on purpose. Every valve, pump, and gate in the tunnel system managed in real time. Storm response time, under 4 minutes. The system is the city. The Great Lakes, 21% of the world's surface fresh water, enter a binding international governance framework. Chicago holds the intake and the liability. Average summer temperatures in Chicago now resemble Montgomery, Alabama, in 2026. The lake still moderates the shore. Inland, a different city. 30% of Chicago's land area converted to green and blue infrastructure, retention ponds, wetlands, urban forest. Most of it, the former Southside, the Loop and Lakefront, fully climate engineered, underground pedestrian network, district lake cooling, mandated building standards, the most managed square miles in the Midwest. The Southside is no longer a residential district. It is a managed climate buffer, retention capacity, agricultural production, renewable energy, necessary, not equivalent. Population stabilizes at 3.2 million in a tighter footprint. More people, less space, more infrastructure pressure than at any point in Chicago's history. The old racial map of Chicago has shifted. The new map: climate risk, infrastructure access, lake proximity. The populations in each zone are not random. 2078, TARP, Phase 3, operational. The Southside finally has full flood protection. It took 46 years from the first proposal to the first working tunnel. Storms now regularly exceed Phase 3 design parameters. The tunnels capture 17.5 billion gallons. What comes after goes directly into the waterways. 2080, a binding Great Lakes Water Authority fixes Chicago's allocation by international treaty. 8 states, 2 Canadian provinces, 1 agreement. 100 years overdue. 2082, over 50 extreme heat days per year, confirmed annual baseline. The 1995 heat wave week now happens twice every summer. Chicago's L train, fully automated since 2076, electric, driverless, 24-hour service. The only reason the compressed city functions at this density: every system in Chicago, water, transit, cooling, power, housing, operating near maximum designed capacity. No redundancy, no slack, just management. Chicago, 2095. Compact, engineered, deliberate. 3.15 million people in 60% of the 2026 footprint. Every system at its designed limit. Lake Michigan still there, still cold, still the reason Chicago exists, and still the system's single point of failure that no engineering can eliminate. Chicago reversed its own river, built tunnels under itself for 50 years, compressed, filtered, managed, not survival, management. And at every step, someone decided who the city was for.